So before I go way into detail for 1.1, how many of you guys know what negative numbers are? Yay! That makes my life so much easier. Okay, so I'm going to run a problem. You guys might want to have your books up because we're going to be doing lots of your books. Okay, so it's page 10. Okay, so when you guys get there, you guys should see this equation for the brainy axis or brainy facts or whatever their names are. And when you guys see this, what do you guys want to do when you see something like this? Somebody raise their hand. Yes. Solve it. How are you going to solve it?
Well, first you add together negatives, and then you have negative 300, and then you factor the plus 150, so it's negative 300 plus 150, which gives you negative 150.
Oh my goodness. I don't even have to teach that now. I was literally going to be teaching that right now because what a lot of you guys tend to do, there, he tends to do this first, which is going to give you negative 50, and then do this. Which, that might seem like it's okay, but in math, sometimes it's not the best idea to start from the left and go to the right. Sometimes it's best to jump around to get your answer, if that's how you can get your answer the most correct. So like he said, you're going to want to add these together, which you guys are going to see negatives. So it's like, oh my gosh, it's adding. No, you're just going to basically combine like terms and then some. So that's what he said. So you're going to get like negative 300 and then plus 150. Is this easier to do or is that easier to do? Yeah, so you just and so you just solve that, which gives you what he said, which was 150. Brownie points at him over there. I'm just going to throw some fake stuff. There you go. Yay! Okay. So I don't think I necessarily need to go farther than that when it comes to doing that kind of stuff. But I do want to do something like, words. Okay, I do want to do something like this. What do you guys do when you see something like this?
I would consider it I'm filling the blank.
So how do you find the answer to the blank?
I would do negative 300 minus
Mostly. This is something that you guys actually might see later. Actually, I don't know if you guys have seen this later. Do you know what GEMDAS is or PEMDAS? You know Of course, that's what this is. So like, you'd be doing this. You'd be putting like an X here, and then you would just solve it across. You know what that is? You know how to do that?
Yeah.
I want you to come up here and do it.
Plus 150. That's amazing.
You guys just erase it.
150.
Hold it. Explain it.
Yes.
Then put the negative sign. Put the negative. Oh wait, no, you don't need the negative sign.
Exactly right. Good. Yay! Okay, good. That's completely right. Now, actually, before I erase this is what you're going to see a lot more in the high school. You're going to see something much more complicated than that. But you're not going to see a lot of, here's a long equation solved. It's going to be more of like, here's an equation with an x in the middle of it. Find that x. That's what you guys are going to be doing in high school most of them, all the time. What did I say? I completely forgot. Oh yeah, in your guys' books, it briefly talks about where to have a negative. I know that for like that first one, it had the negative up here. And while that might be nice for you guys now, I'm just going to be straight up for later. This negative is going to be right here. So it's going to look like a minus sign. So just get used to that. Just
It means the same thing.
Okay. Is that okay? Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Okay.
Yes.
Good,
Yeah,
good, good.
that's how I was used to it anyway.
Yeah, the whole negative at the top, it's nice at the beginning, but just to say that they're not going to follow that.
Will
Just
that,
as-
can that get mixed up in some of it?
No, not really. I guess you could argue it could be kind of similar to an exponent, but those are on the back of the number, so I guess you wouldn't really get that confused with it. It's just a different way to put it, I guess you would say. Okay. Okay. Let's talk about a number line. Does anyone know what a number line is? Except for this in the back. Just.
Okay, yeah. It's like it's a line connecting two numbers where it is plotted numbers include.
Yeah, that's the brief definition of what a number line is.
A line.
What we're gonna do for like now we're gonna move into 1.2 right now. So what we're gonna do is pretty much using a number line to find answers and things like that. Oh yeah. How many of you guys have worked with what was the word I'm looking for? Oh my gosh, same.
Opposites.
Oh yeah, inequalities. Only
Write the word on the there, please.
All right.
Jason, you might as well.
Yes, seriously. Yeah, Jason, 7 points down.
Inequalities, or just inequality if you want to make this mean. No. Just gonna do inequality.
Inequality.
That's what I read?
Inequality.
Yay, okay. So this kind of comes into play actually when you get to more like closer to 8th grade, because this is kind of what I taught. So basically a number line is perfect for inequalities. What that is something that looks something like this. Have you guys seen this before?
Yes.
Yeah. You have. That's an inequality. So on a number line, what would I do with this? Do you know? No? Yes, Justin?
That's a line. Put X on like the left and 8 at the other end. Yeah, like on it. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll say that like we'll put a 0 here, and then we'll put like 8 here, and then we'll say this is 4, and then we'll say this is negative 4.
Alright.
And then we'll say x is just going to be anything is that less than or greater than.
Less than.
Good. So all you're going to do is do something like this. And then an arrow. Do you know the difference between a parenthesis and like the brackets? Have you guys gone into detail about that? Yeah? Okay, good. Okay, so that's pretty much what a number line is with inequalities. But with a regular number, like a regular equation, let's see here, let's try to draw this out. With a regular equation, you're going to do something like this. So you're going to say like 5 plus 2 minus, and I'll say minus. Okay. On a number line, what? That would be a minus 10. But really, I guess you could say it could also be a negative 10 if that makes sense. I know in your book, and I know in 8th, is it like 7th and 8th grade, they like, mostly 7th grade, they only want you to do this. If it's a negative, they'll have you write like this. Does that confuse you at all?
No.
Okay, good. That's better for you? Okay, well in high school, that's not going to be it. But you're not happy.
In 7th grade, that's what they
like
want.
What?
7th grade, they do that.
Yeah, they do this a lot in 7th grade. But because it's not plus and negative 10, it's really just a subtraction. If it's like plus and then it's like like some type of negative, it's subtract. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's just subtract. Now, if it's something like if it says something like this is when you use like a negative. these are the same equations. It's just one. It's just one is a minus 10 and one is a negative 10 plus this. Does that make sense? Is that confusing? Yes.
How would you subtract a negative from a negative?
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Jason, you're in college, so.
Okay, so actually that's kind of how I'm gonna show this on a number line. So let me see if I can think of something that's negative and a negative. Negative 3 minus 5. Does that make sense? Or I guess plus 5. So let's see. This is 0 cubed. And then this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And these are all negatives. First of all, do you guys know that when you go more deeper into negatives, the number gets bigger? You guys know that?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. We'll say negative 3 plus negative 5. So I'll put this in red. So here's negative 3. So first of all, always start at the origin. The origin is always 0. So you're going to go 1, 2, 3, and then go 1 to 5. Does that make sense? You're just subtracting and subtracting. It's like adding. So if you take 5 plus 3, what's that?
8.
So minus 5 minus 3. Or negative 5 minus 3.
It's 8.
Negative.
Negative 8.
Negative 8. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Does that make
Yes,
sense?
that's
Do
negative
you
5.
kind of get what I just did on the board? Okay, good. So let's go back up to what this thing up here says, which was that right there. Okay. Or not. Sorry. Let's see.
Magic pen.
Erases.
There's nothing. There's nothing.
It goes away.
It's okay. We won't do fun things. Okay. It's okay.
It goes
Okay,
away.
so if it's like, okay, so if we're doing this one up here, which is in here somewhere, what's it?
The magic pen disappeared.
What? It's gone bye-bye. Okay. So let's see. So let's do this one. I'll erase this one right here. Okay. So we have 5 plus 2. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 6. Okay. So what am I going to do first on this number line, on this equation? If I'm drawing it in a number line.
Add.
You're going to add. Add what?
5 plus 2.
5 plus 2 is what?
7.
8,000.
Negative 10.
Okay, so you're gonna do this.
Yes.
On your work, whatever, you might write something like this. You're gonna be like, oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you're gonna make a dot and then go 1, 2. So there's 7, but then it's like, minus 10. So then you're gonna go minus 10, which is gonna be like, there's 7, and then 1, 2, 3. So that means this is your answer.
Negative 3. Good job.
Which is negative 3.
Yay!
That makes sense. Oh my goodness. You guys just learned number lines.
Oh my
You're so cool.
Use the smiley face pen.
All this stuff.
Where is it?
I know. You go to you go to the pen thing. You click on the pen. Create a pen. Create a pen.
Magic pen.
Then that. Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
Do the
I
smile.
found it. Okay. Oh wait. I guess what? Oh yeah. I wanted to do this. Okay. Okay. Look in your guys' books. Which 1.2 and letter C. I want you guys to write that down inside of your guys' notes. Do all 4 of them. There's 4 of them. Yeah. Do all 4 of them.
Yeah.
I didn't get it.
Then just share the book. Then just share it and write it on your notes.
They're up in the cupboard. Somewhere there. Not there. Right there. What? Ben, Geneva, put your name in the book.
Yeah, exactly.
Ben,
Okay, do this
put your name in the
not take
book.
a lot of time.
One is
Letters. And then all four.
yeah.
That's hard to see.
That looks like a scoreboard.
Oh,
Yay.
Looks
Magical.
1 through 4. So it's 4.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
No, it is the best.
Just do it. But you already know what to do, so focus on this because I'm gonna give you like guys like 4.
Done.
It's
Anything you gotta do.
okay, I'm not gonna make you guys explain. Just find the answer. Okay, I see most of you guys have it, which is good. Alright, who wants to come on the board and do number 1?
Do we have to write it in number line?
Come on, Justin, you can do that. You can do 2. Can you do 2? Okay. Well, what can you say some space for Justin?
God, no.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you also do the problem, please? If you want to, that's what makes you actually, yeah, do it.
Oh yeah, that was. Wait, no, hit the wrong one. I
Hold
started 6.
on, wait, but you did 2? I did 1. You did 1? Yeah.
Wait a minute.
You did 1 on which problem?
Oh, you did 1.1.
He's doing 1.1. Oh, you did 1. Okay. But you said on page 10.
That's why.
But actually, this is kind of a good thing. This is kind of a good thing because it shows. Oh no, you're good. You're good. Don't worry. You're good. This is kind of a good thing because it shows 2 different ways to do something. And did you see how he got his answer really, really fast, and he got his answer a little slower? Because he used a number line. Not that you're slow. You're not slow. It's just he used a number line and he used an actual equation. And that can kind of confuse some people, especially when dealing with negatives. That's why a number line, especially, you can sit down. Especially like when you're first learning negatives, a number line can help and do wonders. I learned a lot using the number line, so I don't need to use it anymore. But I definitely learned a lot, yes.
You also did the wrong page.
I understand that, but I know that I'm sure there's a lot of you guys that didn't use a number line for these problems and just used and just did Let's see if I find it. And just did this. Because that's, like, this is, like, that's easy to do. But what if you're dealing with a number that might be a lot harder, that might not be as easy to think through? Like doing what he did, like doing, so what if it's like doing negative 200 degrees minus 150 degrees? What if you had to do that? Well, yeah, it might be easy right now. Oh, 50 is a difference, but that's not what the question is asking. It's asking what's the midpoint, right? Yeah, the halfway between each pair of temperatures. So you're probably going to be like, oh, well, that's minus 25. But if the numbers get difficult, it's going to be hard to find that. What if you do something like 272 and then 283? Can you find the midpoint of that easy? No, but if you have a number line, you can. And while you might be like, oh, I have to make 200 tick marks. No, you don't. Because you can make little squiggles that I know that, I don't know the exact term, but I call them squiggles. You might have learned this in 5th grade, maybe. Although the teacher might have told you not to do it, but you can do this. Like,
Great.
what you can do is like make a 0 and then like this. And then go negative 180. Negative 181. Does that make sense? Yeah. It works a lot. Some teachers tell you not to do it, but do you want to make 180 pointless numbers? No, you don't want to make 180 pointless squares. You're gonna do this. And while doing this, then it gets easier because then you can just see exactly how many numbers you need to count over and then find the midpoint in that. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Number lines are extremely useful, especially for visual learners. Okay, and then I think I want to give, is that enough time to talk about your thing?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, okay. I think you guys pretty much grasp what I did, grasp what I showed. Now, as a recap, can someone tell me what is an inequality? Besides Jason. Yes.
Inequality is like.
No. Okay, can you explain what that is? No. Didn't you see this on the board? What?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it's a number line where you see the difference.
Can we just say the line?
Yeah. Yes. Can someone tell me what a number line is? Let's do that. I don't really know his name. The guy right in the back and the gray on the left. My left.
Number one.
And that's my right.
Here's one.
That's not you.
It's not
Jack, that's you.
Jack.
We're both in gray.
I said on my left, which is Jack. Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So explain it.
Explain what number line
Okay,
is.
so it's basically a line with numbers and then you see a way to find the answer.
Good. So the major point of using a number line is to do what?
Math.
Obviously. Why wouldn't?
Good. I don't understand why some people are packing up. The bell is not rung yet. There's no reason to pack up.
It's 5
Okay.
minutes.
Now, do you still have enough time to explain?
I think so.
Okay, good.